Punk Revolution now! Hey everybody, today we are going to be reviewing Tame Impala's The Slow Rush. Holy smokes, we've been waiting for this album. It's Tame Impala, they're back with the freaking album, oh my god. So, Tame Impala, when I hear Tame Impala, I think of being back in high school, smoking pot, listening to some psychedelic pop with your bros, and just chilling out, because they make some really good pop songs that are psychedelic and lots of textures and sound good. But this is okay, so Tame Impala, come on, they're huge. They're huge. They play big-ass shows. They sell a lot of songs. What are they doing in their newest album? We'll see. A lot of excitement around this album. There's only one way to find out if it's good, is to watch my review. So let's get started by taking a look at the album cover, shall we? Punk Revolution now. This album cover is like we unlocked a new region of the brain inside of a dream, and there's sand in there, and it's like so trippy. Okay, folks, so for real, pretty cool cover. I like the shades of red or whatever. But anyways, musically. So, Tame Impala. I want to be honest with you folks. I was never a massive Tame Impala fan. I like I said, I like to vibe out to them in high school a bit with friends, but I wasn't really crazy about their album Currents. It was a little too poppy for my taste. And I didn't really like the singles leading up to this album either. I thought, I thought the singles were kind of bland, and I just kind of didn't have very high expectations for this album. I even tweeted predicting that this album was going to be bad. So, was I right? Is Tame Impala's newest album bad? Well, folks, the answer to that is actually a little bit more complicated than just a simple yes or no. This is actually Tame Impala's probably most experimental and complex album, which makes it hard. It's not so easy to just say this is bad or good, okay? It's nuanced. It's a nuanced album. So what makes this a little bit more complex and complicated than their other albums? Well, I think the instrumentation in this album is more ambitious and more complex than anything we've heard from Tame Impala. In this album, we're going to hear a variety of percussion, we're going to hear flute, we're going to hear some piano and bass, kind of stripped back, more intimate moments with Kevin Parker. We're going to hear freaking strange kind of vocal distorted samples like in the opening track, One More Year, which is really trippy and cool. Just all sorts of different things going on, and freaking influence from like house music and like disco, and just like what the flip. Sometimes these songs sound like freaking Queen or like some glam rock fucking song, like in the last song, One More Hour, which is like kind of an epic song, and then there's fucking, it's just like, is this like, what is this, like singer-songwriter art pop? It's just like, you're bringing all these elements in there, and it's really kind of showing you a new side of Tame Impala, which is pretty darn cool, and I appreciate that. I really do. I'm glad to hear them kind of try new sounds out. And I think a lot of people are going to love that. But there's one area of this album that is notably less good than their previous albums that frankly might be a make it or break it element that might make people actually dislike this album and make it their least favorite Tame Impala album. And that is the melodies. Because the melodies in this album are noticeably less good than the melodies in their previous album. That's a pretty big flaw, folks. Tame Impala, like, a lot of people love Tame Impala because of their excellent pop melodies that are so euphoric, you sing along so grand and just... And if you kind of lose that element, for a lot of people, you're losing what makes Tame Impala so good in the first place. So you might bring in these experimentations with different instruments and stuff, and different song structures and different sounds, but you lose the melodies that make the band so lovable in the first place. It raises the question, like, oh my goodness, some people are going to find this to be their worst album. So it's kind of a complicated thing. I think if you love Tame Impala for their great melodies and the awesome pop songs, you're probably going to not like this album that much. But if you like Tame Impala because you like their textures and sounds and their trippiness in general, you like to do acid and listen to Tame Impala, you're probably going to like this album a lot. It might even be your favorite Tame Impala album. So, interesting. Mixed reviews, I guess you could say. In my opinion, this album does have some really cool moments, but like a lot of the songs here just really don't do anything for me. I do like the song On Track a lot, though. I like that kind of like the drums come in and the piano. It does feel a lot like a freaking glam rock song or some shit. Whatever. Quote me on that. I don't give a fuck. So, I'm gonna give this a 6.8 out of 10. Interesting, kind of caught me off guard. I was expecting to give it something like freaking like a 5 out of 10 based off the singles, but it all came together.
Thank you for watching Punk Revolution. No!